Hello, I'm Carolyn Black-Sotier, and welcome to Kaleidoscope, your guide to the cultural arts in Harford County. The arts continue to thrive in our community. And here on Kaleidoscope, we keep you up to date on what's happening by highlighting local artists, featuring the latest arts events, and talking with event organizers. Let's get started. Lights, camera, action. You don't have to travel to Hollywood to enjoy award-winning films on the silver screen. The Town of Bel Air Film Festival showcases them for you at the Armory this fall as they celebrate the art of filmmaking. With me to share this year's exciting lineup is Angela Robertson, manager of Bel Air's Arts and Entertainment District. Good to see you.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right, full disclosure, this is one of my most favorite events.
So glad to hear it.
In Harford County. I love this festival. And you've been around for a while.
Yes.
Yeah, how long?
This will be the 10th year of the film festival, so we're celebrating with some really great films, and we're so excited to be able to bring this event to downtown Bel Air.
Yeah, and I love the space. You do it in the Armory.
Right, right.
And you give it a really kind of cozy, homey feel.
We do,
right?
Yeah. The Armory is a wonderful community center right on Main Street in downtown Bel Air, and we dress the tables and have great, comfortable seating for everyone, and it's a wonderful place to show the films.
And lots of good snacks, too,
we do.
which I love. There we're seeing a couple pictures of people watching. So it's very comfortable and a great sense of community. I mean, it's nice.
Right.
I love watching a film with other people as opposed to just sitting there by myself or just a family member. I love when there's a whole group. You get a certain energy.
We do, for sure. And with the documentaries we show, there's often great discussion afterwards among the people that have attended. So we love to see that.
Oh, super. All right, well, let's talk a little bit about this season and give us your lineup of great movies.
Terrific. We have 3 great films this year. On October 11th, which is a Thursday night, we're opening the festival with The Devil We Know.
Oh.
I know. It is a really impactful environmental film about a large corporation in West Virginia and the small town whose water they contaminate with a harmful chemical. So it follows the lives of several of the town's residents, and is just a really great film about the environment and how the companies in our country can impact that.
Yeah, and this is a very hot topic right now. I mean, it has been for a while, but with Flint, Michigan and some other,
correct.
this is very timely, I must say.
Yes.
Okay, so that's your Thursday night, and that starts, the doors open at what?
Doors open at 7 o'clock for each night of the festival, and the films will start at 7:30.
Okay, all right, then let's talk about Friday night.
Friday night is Kim Swims, which is just an inspiring movie about Kim Chambers, who's an open water swimmer, and she takes on the challenge of a 30-mile swim from the islands off the coast of California to the Golden Gate Bridge.
Wow.
So, yeah.
And I understand, like, it's pretty rough waters, it's shark infested.
It is, yes. So she has to overcome some obstacles, and there are some twists and turns in the film. I don't want to give anything away, but she's got a really interesting story, and she's just so likable. You're just rooting for her every step of the way.
So pretty inspiring.
It is,
and that would be a great one. I don't know, the age that you think these all are appropriate, but I would think if you've got some young kids or high school age kids, this could be a very inspiring story.
Right. We try very hard as a film selection committee to keep the films family friendly.
Okay.
Kim Swims is definitely one that you could bring the family to, and it is an inspiring story.
Okay. All right. So then you close with your Saturday movie.
Our Saturday evening film is Istak, and it is a great film about Itzhak Perlman, who's the famous violinist. And not only is the film filled with his amazing music, but also it tells the story of Itzhak Perlman and how he overcame his disability caused by polio to really pursue his passion and the obstacles that he overcame. And there's just a touch of a wonderful love story between he and his wife as well, which is great.
I think it was kind of love at first sight. Did she? Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, he's one of my heroes, so that's fantastic. Okay, so that's also at 7:30.
Yes.
Now, one of the great bonuses, besides having great movies and watching it with people from your community, is the price.
It is. It's quite a bargain.
Yeah, it is.
Each film is just $5 to get your ticket, which includes the film, and popcorn and a drink.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Well, we've got the calendar up there again, and it gives all the details. Can folks go online, or you buy the tickets in person? How does that work?
You can buy the tickets at the door, and that's the way most people do that. You can also buy the tickets ahead of time at the Department of Economic Development, which is located in the Armory. So we don't have an online purchasing, but you can come get them ahead of time in person.
Yeah.
And those tickets will be available October 1st.
Okay, all right. Well, one of my favorites is Roger Ebert used to say, "We'll see you in the balcony." I know, I don't think you have a balcony there. But
we don't, but it's
but
a
anyway,
great event.
Again, it is a great event. And thank you so much for telling us about it. We hope to see everyone at the movies.
Hope so. Thank you.
You bet. Well, in celebration of Maryland's deep and rich history of cooperation with the country of Estonia, the Liriodendron will be hosting its first international art exhibit this fall featuring artists' works from Bel Air's Estonian sister city, Narva. We'll learn all about it later in the show, so don't go away. We will be right back. What an innovative idea, taking abandoned and neglected wooden oars and paddles and transforming them into works of art. Here to tell us all about Oars for Art is Bruce Russell, president of the board of directors at the Havre Maritime Museum. Welcome.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, Oars for Art. That's a hard thing to say. I got to say it carefully. Where did this come from? It's a great idea.
We had a lot of oars that had been donated over the years, and they were getting in the way.
You didn't know what to do with them, right? Yeah.
Well, we didn't know what to do with them, and a good friend of mine is an artist, and she's Philadelphia-based, and she has done programs before with an arts challenge is from the community that she has called Philadelphia Sculptors, and she's found strange objects and whole collections
that there were
of
no
them.
use for, or had been
used
seen to better
bowling pins
days.
was one of them.
Yeah,
and so she challenged artists to do something as a sculpture. So I said, what do you think we do something like Oars for Art, provided that the artist will do something as a sculpture and have some sort of maritime environmental component to them.
Right.
And it's consistent with the tradition of mariners at sea. Ancient mariners were bored at sea. They had a bunch of stuff they couldn't use anymore on board. And so they repurposed things into maritime folk art. So this is a folk art component of what our mission is. And so we,
yeah, so if folks who have been walking around Havre Grace, they may have noticed some of these sculptures that they've been now on display for some time.
They've been on display since about middle of July, excuse me.
Okay.
And we had 17 artists,
Really?
no, excuse me, 15 artists with 17 different sculptures. Some of the artists did two.
Yeah.
And some of the artists took more than one oar.
Okay.
So
and did they get to pick the specific oar? Like, we're looking at one piece of artwork there, but now this is interesting to me. Bruce, tell us about that.
Yeah, they got to pick their pieces of their oars. We actually had a photograph that we put online, and they could pick them. And this artist picked an oar that was probably the most
it looks a little damaged there. Yeah.
Well, he and his partner, one was from Chicago and the other was from Florida. And how they found out about it, because we had a very large call for artists.
Yeah.
And we sent them the oar, and they scanned it. And by the scan, then they programmed a 3D printer.
Wow.
And so that's a 3D printer representation of an oar going through the water.
Wow, it's very cool. So, and as you said, these artists have come from everywhere. You put out a call to artists. They come in and they make their works of art. You've been displaying them in the community, but now they're coming indoors to the museum, right?
September 15th.
September 15th.
September 15th, they'll be coming back to the museum
Right.
after, and then they'll be on display in the museum for 3 weeks.
Right.
And then October 7th, Sunday afternoon, from 2 to 5, we will have an artist reception.
Awesome. So the artists are going to come in.
Hopefully they're going to come in.
Yes, well,
and,
as many as can. Yeah.
And then it'll be a typical artist reception. Will there be hors d'oeuvres? It'll be open to the public, so they can meet the artists.
Terrific.
And then all the artists for sale.
Wow, that's great.
So we have some that are already sold.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Oh, you were, okay.
And we have a lot of interest in a couple of pieces.
Yeah.
I've got an interest in a piece for the
I
museum.
asked you that earlier,
Yeah,
when we were off air.
and,
So I know that you gave a $200 stipend to each artist, and then you were able, so that when the oars are sold, when the works of art are sold, they will get 50% and the museum will get 50%. But obviously you needed some seed money to start all of this.
Yeah, we received seed money from the Hartford County Cultural Arts Board,
Yay, yeah, that's good.
the Maryland State Arts Council, the Joseph Robert Foundation, and our partner, the Philadelphia Sculptors, who's handled all of the publicity, and we've worked with them on that. And we developed a map, since they did that too. 'Cause
Yeah.
there's a map that's all over town you can see.
Yeah. And we continue to look at some of the different works.
Sure.
I mean, they're all very different styles, and I think it'll be really interesting to meet the artists behind this work. I mean, there's different personalities, obviously, with these artists as well. There's a very fun one.
Oh, yeah, I know Holly Smith. She's
The artist of that, yeah.
and that's from Nick Galoro. We call him Harvey.
Oh, so and that's a very interesting one. You said that was done by an engineer, of course.
Yeah, an engineer who's also an artist. And
Yeah,
so
it's
we had
wonderful.
a different bunch of people. I had no expectations and a lot of expectations, and I just wanted to be surprised, and I was wowed by some of them.
Oh, I think
Yeah.
it's wonderful. Well, and everybody can be a part of it, and come to the reception on October 7th.
And they'll be on display in town through October. No, excuse me.
At the museum.
At the museum,
Yeah.
through October 7th, starting September 15th. But
Okay.
they're still on display in
Terrific.
local places in,
All right.
in the
Well,
community.
thank you. It's a fun and wonderful event. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Thank you.
You bet. Well, I'm also excited to announce the debut of a new segment here on Kaleidoscope, a feature highlighting something different in the cultural arts, perhaps a local artist, a behind-the-scenes look at an arts organization, or a visit to an arts event. Our first segment highlights a Hartford County mixed media artist who's been exhibiting professionally for more than 35 years. She has earned numerous awards, including 3 individual artist awards from the Maryland State Arts Council, 1 from the Elizabeth Foundation for the Arts, and 2 nominations to participate in the Florence Biennale in Italy. Join us as we shine a light on Gina Pierleoni.
Today's event is the opening of What Makes Us Us, which is a one-person show I have at Creative Alliance in Baltimore. And the show has been 2 years in the making, which is exciting, but the work has been 26 years in the making. I started the first portraits in the early 90s, trying to find my own voice and being really intrigued with the figure. And one thing led to another, and I continued to make them. Initially, they were visualizations of my own voice and finding that. Eventually, what they became was portraits of other people and portraits of our conversations together. So they are one incredibly big, growing, thriving community of people. I love to talk to people, and when I talk to people, I look at their faces. I look at how they hold themselves, I listen to the quality of their voice, I'm intrigued with what they're saying, and so looking at one another it's a connector. So the portraits are evidence of that I have connected in some way with this person. I've always drawn people, I've always talked to people, and I had a lot of portrait experience when I was in college. I used to sit in Grand Central Station and draw people who were commuting. people who were homeless, because at that time in the late 70s and early 80s, homeless people were permitted visibility. There were benches they slept on, there were people just being where they were because that's what they had. And I used to draw them as well because they would come over and say, "What are you doing? Can you draw me?" And I would draw them. And then I would give them the drawing as a gift. What was so interesting to me is that even somebody who didn't have a place to live would carefully fold up these drawings like they were treasures and put them in a pocket. Everyone deserves to be heard, and many of us are not for a variety of reasons. And I feel like not only do people deserve to be heard, but any group of people can come together as a community. I mean, my work is evidence of that. If you look at the styles I'm working in as a metaphor, I'm all over the place, and yet they all exist together. They're all portraits, they're all in the same series. I can go anywhere, I can do anything with it, and I call it a portrait because I want it included in the series. So yeah, I think that my voice is, and I guess this is as a college teacher as well, my voice helps other people, particularly younger people, find their own voices. And that's really important to me. So I don't rule out any materials. I'm willing to put anything in my paintings. So of late, I've been using oil acrylic, charcoal, pastel, colored pencil, marker. Ballpoint pen is really great because there's no pressure when using it. It's such an everyday material. I also tear up old paintings that don't feel resolved to me, and they are breathed a new life. So it becomes not only this quest to represent people and their stories, I'm also, I'm a big recycler. So, it's all connected. It's really, really all connected. I love to make things and find out what happens when I do this. And anybody can come in. When I have the opening tonight, people are going to say, "Oh, how did you do this?" And I'm happy to share it. I'm happy to share it. "Oh, I learned this from second graders." "Oh yeah, fifth grader taught me that." I'm happy to share any of it, The more we make and the more we make together, the better things are.
Look for a special Shine a Light On feature during every Kaleidoscope program. When we return, the folks from Liriodendron will be here to talk about their first ever international art exhibit titled Relationships. But first, here's a glance at the County Arts Events calendar. It's an exhibit that's been 2 years in the making. Joining me to tell us about relationships, the Liriodendron's first international art exhibit celebrating Maryland's special relationship with the country of Estonia, is Brenna Kupferman, Business Development Director for the Liriodendron Foundation. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
Well, this is very exciting. I love the Liriodendron. I think it's one of the most beautiful estates in Harford County.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. The Liriodendron was originally built as a summer home for Dr. Howard Atwood Kelly. He was one of the 4 founders of Johns Hopkins.
Yeah.
And the Liriodendron itself has been, over time, passed on to the county and then to a nonprofit Liriodendron Foundation to run the facility. But it is it's open to the public for visits, and on the 2nd floor we have an art gallery, and we feature primarily local artists.
Right, and I have been to some of the exhibits there, but this is really kind of special because this is the first time you've decided to take on an international exhibit.
That's right.
Yeah.
This exhibit, it features art from Estonia,
Obviously.
and most people don't know that Maryland and Estonia have this long relationship of cooperation. It started off when the Cold War ended, and Estonia was looking for someone to help them build their military following the USSR breakup. And they looked to the United States, and the U.S. sent the military, the National Guard from Maryland. And from that, built this friendship that resulted now in decades of cultural and educational exchange between the two.
And then specifically Bel Air and Narva.
That's right.
Are sister cities.
That's
so
right.
Narva is obviously a city in Estonia.
Yeah, so Estonia and Maryland share 8 sister cities.
Okay.
And Bel Air's sister city is Narva. And so the exhibit that we've got showing starting on September 16th features art from local artists from Narva.
From Narva.
Yeah.
And I think, what, 35 different artists from Narva,
That's
is that right?
That's right. And the pieces are all kind of an eclectic mix of, because it's different artists, it's different points of view and different types of media. So we've got sculpture, textiles, we've got paintings and drawings.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And we're looking at some right now. And you and I were talking before coming on air about how eclectic the mix of art is.
Yeah, it really is. And you've got everything from modern abstracts to classical style paintings, and also some textiles. So we've got a few batiks, and we've also got a wall hanging.
Okay, all right. So that is going to be, so with this exhibit, it doesn't just stop though with the beautiful works of art. I know that you kick it off on September 16th with a special opening.
That's right.
And I think some honored guests are going to be there.
Yeah, so we're having a special opening on the 16th. The exhibit will be running from September 16th through November 4th.
Okay.
But on the 16th, we'll be having a free program featuring the Secretary of State, Wilbon Smith, and a few other honored guests. And then we'll be having a lecture, 2 film screenings, and a traditional folk Estonian dance and music concert.
Okay, now I got to ask, where do you find? So you're going to have an Estonian dance group come up here, and I think we have a picture of them, beautiful, in their kind of folk garb. There they are dancing.
Yeah, there they are. So I was connected with them through the Bel Air Narva Partnership Committee. There's a whole group that meets regularly to further this exchange of cultural and educational swapping. And they connected me with the dance troupe and with the choir.
And then there's the choir as well. And I think they're based out of D.C., but they're coming up here
They
to
are.
Bel Air.
So the choir is a Baltimore, D.C. area group, and the dance group is from the D.C., Virginia area.
Okay.
But they're coming up on September 30th to do a dance performance.
Terrific. All right, and then all of these events are online. People can find out.
That's right.
Some of them are free, or some of them have a very nominal charge.
Most of the events are free or have a suggested donation level.
Okay.
And all the information about the cost and the times and the dates can be found online.
And then the few seconds we have left, you were telling me a little bit about this interesting juxtaposition of a silent film and photos.
That's right. So we also, alongside the exhibit of the modern day art, we have a silent film and a series of photos from Estonia in the early 1900s. And so that is going to be displayed alongside and within a building that was being lived in by its family in that time period.
Yeah, how terrific. All right, well, it's a fascinating and wonderful exchange. I think it's great. We particularly need this kind of thing right now in today's world. So we appreciate you coming in and telling us about it, and we look forward to seeing you there. Thanks,
It's my
Brenda, so
pleasure.
much.
Thank you so much.
Well, there's more to come on Kaleidoscope, so don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Kaleidoscope. As the government-appointed local arts agency, the Harford County Cultural Arts Board is the premier local resource for arts, for cultural and historical organizations, for individual artists, and for you, our county residents. The board's mission is to preserve, enhance, and promote the culture of Harford County, Maryland. Are you looking for a way to get more involved in our arts community? Well, the Cultural Arts Board wants you. They're seeking a few volunteer board members to act as ambassadors and advocates for the arts. Board meetings are held on the first Monday of the month in Bel Air to advise on the circumstances of the cultural scene in the county. Contact Jessica Cleaver for more information. The Fine Arts Office of the Maryland State Department of Education is hosting a statewide choral workshop for music educators and community music leaders October 12th and 13th, conducted by international gospel music recording artist Donald Lawrence. For more information, email the Fine Arts Office or call 410-587-9175. And finally, a reminder that art and education grants are available for Harford schools and nonprofit community-based settings to bring high-quality teaching artists into the life of pre-K through 12th graders. Eligible programming ranges from one-time assemblies to a teaching artist residency working with students in almost any discipline and any subject. Funds are limited, so go to culturalartsboard.org today to browse artist rosters or call 410-273-5601 to explore the possibilities. And that wraps up today's program. Thank you for watching Kaleidoscope, produced in partnership with the Cultural Arts Board of Harford County and aired exclusively on Harford Cable Network. We hope you'll continue to tune in to Harford County's Arts Connection. For Kaleidoscope, I'm Carolyn Black-Sotier.